This week in history, the legend of Gary Player. Gary Player seems to have Midas's touch both on and off the course. Everything he touches works, whether it's being the fittest octogenarian you ever saw, designing courses, running a foundation, or even breeding horses. Yes, the famous Gary Player owns and runs a renowned ranch that has produced some of the most coveted breeds in the world. And all of this is just what he's built off course. As a golfer, Player was a monster, with accolades coming out of his ears. He dominated golf within and outside the shores of his own country. This is the story of a living legend. Background: Player was born on the 1st of November 1935 to poor South African parents in Johannesburg. He was the youngest of 3 children and lost his mother at the age of 8. There wasn't much of a home life for Player. His father was a miner who worked 8,000 feet below the surface. He went to boarding school while his brother was drafted at 17 to fill the British ranks. Player, on the other hand, was a day student, going to school in the mornings and returning by nightfall via tram or bus to a cold, dark, empty house. With his mother gone, he started looking after himself at 8. Waking up as early as 5 a.m. to prepare breakfast, iron his clothes, and prepare for school. These circumstances ate at young Player's mind until he started to wish for death. In his words, "It's the reason I became a champion, because I knew what it was to suffer, to struggle, and to never give up. I used to sit in the Tai Chi position. I've never told many people this. And this guy would whack me in the face. Quack. Patience. Quack. Never give up. Whack. Have love in your heart. Whack. Learn to read. Whack. Learn to speak properly. Whack. Have good manners." Thankfully, Player found some reprieve in golf as a teenager. He was 14 when he played his first game. By 18 in 1953, he joined the professional ranks and played for much of his early years in his home country. As the 50s rolled in, Player set his sights abroad to America. 4 years later, he joined the PGA, playing well into the mid-80s, when he then switched to the Champions Tour, a PGA-sanctioned tour reserved for professional golfers age 50 and older. His move to the United States was just the first of many. Player traveled around the world spreading the gospel of golf, becoming the first non-American, non-European world traveler. This earned him the moniker the International Ambassador of Golf. Estimates suggest that the South African has traversed over 15 million air miles globally, going where the wind of golf blew him. In doing so, he became the first international star to cut a long-standing figure on the PGA Tour, while also competing in tournaments globally. This earned him a place on the Trinity, or Big Three, along with Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus. The trio became a group of superstars that took golf mainstream and brought global attention to the sport. They maintained a friendly rivalry both on and off the course for the rest of their careers. For example, during the 2000s, Player served as team captain in the President's Cup on these occasions. His opposing team, Team USA, was led by none other than Nicklaus. The latter got the better of the South African on 2 occasions, but at the 2003 President's Cup, both men agreed to a tie and shared the trophy. It was the first time that ever happened and remains one of the most memorable shows of sportsmanship in golf history. Additionally, they faced off against each other at the Masters Par 3 contest well into the 2010s until Palmer's demise. To date, they remain honorary starters at the Masters. That said, Player won his first major 2 years after joining the PGA at the 1959 British Open. He became the first non-American to bag the Masters green jacket in 1961, breaking the streak of American champions. He followed up this win with the PGA Championship in 1962. By 1965, he completed the Grand Slam by winning the U.S. Open, making him the 3rd ever golfer to achieve that. Golf legacy. Just like Tiger Woods is known for his signature Sunday red, Gary Player moved playing in black. This earned him yet another moniker, Black Knight. His legacy is one of determination, longevity, and charisma. Player played a good game in his time and was always prepared both mentally and physically, taking his fitness seriously. He took golf as a sport and trained for it like any athlete should, emphasizing, "The harder I practice, the luckier I get." His first victory in a golf tournament was in 1957 in Britain, before playing on the U.S. Tour the following year. Then came his first major championship victory at the 1959 Open at Muirfield. 2 years later, Player bagged his first green jacket at the 1961 Masters, following it up with the 1962 U.S. PGA Championship. His Grand Slam consisted of 4 majors, taking after Ben Hogan and Gene Sarazen. Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods were the next superstars to join the list. His victory stats are stacked all around. He has 9 majors in total, including 1 U.S. Open, 2 U.S. PGA Championships, 3 Masters, and 3 Open Championships. Even after switching to the Champions Tour in 1985, Player didn't stop winning. He remained a tough opponent and hit the ground running by winning his first event on the Senior Tour before bagging another 19 just before retirement. He has all 9 senior major titles under his belt, such as the 1987 Senior Players Championship, the 1968, 1988, and 1990 Senior PGA Championships, and the 1988, 1990, and 1997 Senior British Opens. What a man! We can't forget he was a globetrotter either, because wherever he went, Player made sure to win. He has well over 30 victories across the globe, including 2 Australian Masters titles, 2 Brazilian Opens, 3 World Series of Golf titles, 7 Australian Open titles, and 13 South African Masters titles. He even made a record by becoming the first man to bag 5 World Match Play titles at Wentworth. Player managed to consistently perform at the top for the entirety of his career. Even as he entered his twilight years in golf, he continued to be a force to be reckoned with, like at the 1995 British Open when he was 59, of the 1998 Masters 3 years later at 62 years old. His legacy includes making the cut for the Masters back-to-back for 23 years. That's an insane feat, further emphasized by his career earnings of $12 million. In fact, by 1961, he was the top money winner on the PGA Tour, and he had spent less than 5 years on the tour at the time. The post-playing life. If you thought Gary Player's life as a golfer was interesting, you should see how he's fared off the course. The man went from playing on golf courses regularly to designing them, and boy, was he good at that too. To date, he's completed over 200 golf projects globally, with some of his most famous works being the Tournament Players Club at Jasnapolina just outside of Princeton, New Jersey. And if you remember our video about the best golf courses across all continents, Gary Player designed the first one we explored, the Links at Fancourt in South Africa. He designed it and played there and won too. How good can it get? Also, I did mention that he bred horses at the start of the video. Well, he does. Gary Player's stud farm is known worldwide for breeding some of the best thoroughbred racehorses. If that doesn't sweep you off your feet, you should also know that he has apparel and wine labels to his name too, all of which make him the perfect businessman. But perhaps the work he's most proud of is how he's worked behind the scenes in his native country of South Africa to erase racial divides and discrimination. We already talked about his poor upbringing. His father being a miner was during the apartheid regime, a dark period in the country's history. The Player Foundation exists not just to tackle the political and ethical issues surrounding racial matters in South Africa, but also helps Player afford others the security he never had as a child. His foundation built and runs the Blair Atoll Schools in Johannesburg, which caters to the underprivileged, providing educational facilities to over 500 students, as well as nutritional, medical, and fitness care to disadvantaged children living in the suburbs of the city he calls home. Since first creating the foundation in 1983, Player has received widespread aid in his efforts, with over $50 million donated from around the globe to support the charities the foundation provides and expand its educational opportunities to the greater South Africa and indeed the world at large. Player has managed to reinvent the funding process, setting up Gary Player invitational events in an array of countries from South Africa to the United States to China, and even some European nations. Truly an international golfer. These events are pro-am tournaments that pair celebrities, prominent business people, and pro golfers from both the Champions Tour and the PGA Tour. To cap off an illustrious career on the course and how much of a blessing he is off the course, Player was inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame in 1974, making him one of the first entrants. Some 20 years after that, in 1994, Player was named an honorary member of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews. He also received the award for South Africa's Sportsman of the Century in 2000. Finally, in 2003, he was presented the Laureus Lifetime Achievement Award by fellow Laureus World Sports Academy members. The legend tag is often bandied about like a basket at church these days. Everyone and their neighbor's dog can become a legend for the bare minimum. But when applied to a folder like Gary Player, the word regains its truest meaning. For the South African is, in fact, a legend of the game. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share with your friends, and leave us a comment. See you in the next one.